Hello, welcome to another episode of Ghanaian Role Models in Belgium. My name is Usua, I am your host, and this initiative was brought to you by Ghana Council Belgium. The person that I would be interviewing today could literally save your life. Help me to welcome Dr. Angela Acheampong-Kyei. Hello, doctor.
Yes.
We would like to know about your early life, where you were born, how your childhood was like.
So actually I was born here in Belgium, something like 37 years ago.
Okay, that's beautiful.
I was born in a hospital called Acheampong-Kyei, which is in Brussels. My parents came to Europe like more than 40 years ago, and with the thought that they'll be going back to Ghana 2 years later. But finally they stayed here, and I came in like a few years later. So I grew up in Brussels, went to school in Brussels. Everything was in Brussels. And
So you're just French?
French, absolutely. And I think you can hear it in my accent. But then I'm absolutely French. So when I was young, I used to go to a secondary school called Acheampong-Kyei, which is also in Brussels. And then I studied in ULB afterwards.
Okay,
so,
ULB,
yeah.
Okay, so how was your journey to medical, or how did you actually ended up there, like your career too?
Yeah.
Was it always a dream to pursue a career in medicine, or how did it come by?
So actually what happened is that my younger sister was hospitalized when we were kids for a small thing. And I saw a medical doctor. Okay. And when he came into the room, I was like, wow, that is the work and the job I would like to do. So I think I was something like 8 years old. And since then I was like, I want to become a doctor. But then the thing, so by God's grace, I was able to finish my primary, secondary school. And then when I did medicine, it went through and I was able to do med school. But then actually, let's say it was a childhood dream that I was able to pursue. And by God's grace, I was also able to end it. So let's say it was actually a childhood dream.
It was a childhood dream that came true.
Absolutely. When I was younger, I was always asking my mom to buy me, those kids' stethoscopes. And, I remember with my younger sister and my cousin, we would play like consultation. So I would be in the bedroom. They would be waiting outside like patients. And they would be like coming in as patient. I would be examining them. And then I would write them paper and like stamp it as if I was prescribing medicine to them. So actually, it was really a childhood dream since I met that doctor, and I thank God it came true.
So along the line, there was never one day that your mind could change, like that was it?
Actually, yes, when I was in secondary school. So that's when you come to meet like different kinds of jobs, and I had so many dreams. So at a point I even wanted to be a lawyer because I love defending people. I hate anything that is unjust, and I was like, doing lawyer would help me help those who are perhaps in need or in situation where they cannot be defended. But then, and I also wanted to be an air hostess at a point. But then I remember one of my teachers was like, you want to be air hostess? But then instead of serving in the plane, why don't you serve on earth? So I was like, I don't want to be a waitress, actually. So that's not my job. But then I know that being an air hostess is much more than that.
Yeah.
But then, so I had so many ideas, but at the end, I was like, I want to be a medical doctor. And initially, I wanted to be a pediatrician. But then I ended up doing cardiology, but then it was a challenge.
That was my next question, what kind of doctor are you?
So actually, I'm a cardiologist, so I'm specialized in heart issues, cardiovascular diseases.
Okay.
And I did a specialization on what we call interventional cardiology.
Okay.
So if like somebody has a heart stroke, I am the kind of doctor that heal it. So
you know how the heart works.
Absolutely.
Wow. And what kind of challenges did you face during like schooling time and even becoming who you are today?
So actually, to be honest, as a young Black African child, I mean, the first thing that the biggest challenge is racism most of the time.
Of course.
Unfortunately, sometimes you meet teachers that are not really pushing you as they should or as they would to other students that are from here. So I would say that the biggest one was racism, but I believe that when you have a goal and when you set that goal in front of you, and by God's grace, of course, nothing can stop you. You can obtain those goals. So that was the biggest challenge. But then thank God as well, I also had teachers that really defended my case. So this is one of the challenges. And the other one I would also say is that we are not used to studying a lot as I used to do, because, for example, I remember when I was studying, I didn't have like a lot of Ghanaian friends or people that I considered as my family that were studying as much as I was. So it was really a decision, always a decision of myself to like set myself apart to study. Sometimes, you have friends that will call you cousins, let's go out, let's do that. But then you study, you never stop, those things. And that was the second challenge, not having like people around you that would
motivate
absolutely.
you.
But I thank God also that I have a mom that was always pushing me, always, oh, but you can do it. How moms are. And she really pushed me and told me and made me understand that I could do it,
So how did your cultural background influenced like your approach to medicine, to medical?
It's true that the perception of Ghanaians to med study or doctors it's different from the approach of people around. I actually, when I started studying medicine, I realized that when you do medicine, it's like you've done something like massive. Although I'm happy of the job I'm doing, but then I don't feel I'm doing a better job than somebody else. So let me say that sometimes the way my fellow Ghanaians were making me feel was a little bit embarrassing,
Making you feel as in?
The way they were calling me doc, it's, sometimes you don't necessarily want to be spotted, I did study it hard, but it's not something I necessarily want to brag about, so I was not always comfortable. But then I think
the pressure was quite...
Yeah, and the expectations as well, I believe that although people are like, pushing you, sometimes the intention behind is not as genuine,
as it seems.
So you don't necessarily, especially during studies, you want to keep it to yourself, and just finish. And then when you are done, openly say to people that you're done. So, but then otherwise, I think it was not really a kind of challenge, otherwise it was not really a challenge for that.
Were there any mentors or some particular experience that impact your journey?
Of course. As I said, in my journey through medical school, God put really great people on my path that made my way through very easier. So I remember when you do your med school, you always have based on the kind of specialization you are doing, you have a professor that is like your main teacher, And I remember when I was like my first, second, third year, I had a specific professor that would make sure that, your stage are going on well, blah, 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 And, God just, you have favor in God's eyes. I don't know why, but then I had some professors that just liked me, and I just, just don't know why. So making sure that things were going on well. And also, I remember when I was finishing my assistantship, initially I wanted to do intensive care.
Wow.
And so I did my final medical thesis on a subject in intensive care, and my professor was actually the head of the department of the intensive care at Erasmus Hospital, and actually we wrote a very good article that allowed me to travel 2 times to America. I traveled to France just to present that thesis, and this man also was somebody that was pushing me a lot. And afterwards, I met my professor in cardiology, also a man that really pushed me. I wanted to do I wanted to do a PhD. And before doing a PhD, you need to have sponsorship. You need to have somebody that will give you money to sponsor your work. Absolutely, and that's huge money. And then my professor in cardiology worked with me, and actually the sponsor that I got was, the shop Del Hayes.
Yes.
The CEO of Del Hayes is the one that sponsored my CEO. May his soul rest in peace. He passed out like 2 years ago, a year or 2 years ago. So actually, God will just put people on your way that will make things easier. But then, of course, I also met people that try to push me down. But then you overcome.
I asked that question because I do know we Ghanaians or Africans, you can become a doctor overnight. Knowing the right people.
Yeah, I know.
Being at some places, I wake up and like, hey, call me doc now because I am. Everything is possible. And also, I ask the same question also because, let's say I'm a single parent, like my mom is a single parent.
Yes.
We like four siblings struggling. Can I also achieve this goal? Can I also become a doctor?
Absolutely.
Is there was there particular, because I'm not so sure if there are Ghanaian doctors based here, like a lot of them based here in Belgium that is known.
We are not many, that's it. There's sure, perhaps we are 2 or 3. But then we are not many.
So there's not that kind of a mentor that you could turn to.
In the Ghanaian community?
In
no,
the Ghanaian
unfortunately,
community.
no. Absolutely, no.
That still didn't stop you?
No. Because thank God, God, as I said, really put people on my path to like push me as much as they could. So I didn't really had a Ghanaian mentor, you know.
Or a black an African.
And black mentor.
I know the Congos, they are there. Like
yes,
Congos are South African, they are there.
Cameroonians,
they are there, a lot of them.
But then the thing is also that because Belgium is a French and Dutch speaking country, when you go to the UK, you have a lot of Ghanaian doctors. When you go to the US, you have a lot of Ghanaian doctors. And we just had, we saw with my husband that there was the first black cardiologist in Canada. So, I mean, So I think it's because Belgium is not the preferred place of Ghanaians.
How does one day in your life looks like?
Okay, so a typical day would be like just waking up in the morning, getting ready, and as I said, I have a baby of 7 months.
Congrats.
So I just bless my mom for being around to help because it would have been tougher without her. So I just give her the baby when I leave to work, and she stays home with the baby.
Okay.
Then I go to work. So actually now I work in 2 places. So I work in Brussels, but I also work in Namur. So so 3 times a week I go there. Like I drive an hour there. Actually a day, like for example, I'm going to take my Tuesday as an example. So in the morning I have consultations. Like I start around 8:30 till 12:30, where I see 7-8 patients. And then you have a kind of break, and then you have what we call coronarography. So actually that's what I do. So coronarography is an examination where when you have a vessel that is blocked in your heart, we pass through either your arm or through an artery that we call the femoral artery to your heart to unblock the vessel. That's what I do. So doing that in the afternoon. So my day finishes around 6-7 p.m. and then I'm home. That's an average between around 7:30. That's the time I get home. But then sometimes I can get home a bit later. If like, for example, there are emergencies, then I can get home a bit later. So, but then also we have what we call duties or when I am on call. So for example, most of the time I'm on call 1 weekend a month or 2 weekends a month. And then let's say perhaps 8 weekdays. So how does it work? You go to your daily work, and then in the night, if there is a case, you have to go back to the hospital to make the treatment. So I had the case on the 31st of December last year. Unfortunately, I was on duty, and a man had a heart stroke around 11 p.m. So I had to drive.
Was he partying too much?
Yes, he was.
I knew it.
So I told him, why were you partying? Because of you, I'm not going to enjoy my new year.
Yeah, wow.
But then, he had a heart stroke, so I had to run there, treat him. And
I hope he's still alive.
He's fine. Oof. He's fine. Yeah, he's fine. He's very fine. So let's say a regular day starts at 8:30, ends around 6:30 p.m.
How has being part of the African diaspora influenced your approach in healthcare and
Actually, we Africans, I'm going to speak for Ghanaians because I'm a Ghanaian, and the way we see things sometimes vary from the way I was, like, because of course I grew up in Belgium, so I have a way to see things, but then I also went to do like 6 weeks stage in Ghana. I went to work there for 6 weeks at Komfo Hospital. And I wouldn't say it was a trauma, but it was not far from that. So I did actually 3 weeks in the pediatrician intensive care. And then I did 3 weeks in internal medicine. And it's a whole topic, I think. You know, the way we Africans see healthcare, it's quite, sorry to say, it's quite bad because we don't give importance to our health, unfortunately. You know, what I often say is that we Black people are very clean. We give a lot of importance to, the fact of bathing, hygienic, the fact of presenting yourself well, blah, blah, blah. But then we don't give as much importance to our health, body. You know. I've had cases where, you know, people will like go and take like plants, for example, and be like what we call a baby draw, you know, and at the end, when it's getting bad, that's when they are going to the hospital. And unfortunately, some of them are afraid to go to hospital because they say when I go there, that's when they will give me diseases. But then if you are having any symptoms, I mean, it's really important to go to the hospital. You know, white people, when even they have like a small pain on their finger, they will run to the doctor. And if there is anything, we treat it at an early stage. But we Africans or we Ghanaians, we will wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And when the things get really bad, that's when we go to the hospital. And the thing is that we have also a kind of, it's perhaps bad to say, but we Africans, we have like a kind of inferiority complex where we really don't dare asking questions to our doctors. I say a ferry. Yeah, I feel that it is really important because, you know, when you go to consultation and you have 30 minutes, make sure you are using those. Absolutely. Yeah. If the doctor is like, this, and you don't understand, tell the doctor you don't understand. If it's a language barrier, by God's grace, we have Google Translate. I have patients that are Arabs, some are coming from Syria, some are Russians. When I don't understand them, I go on Google Translate, I speak French, it translates so that I'm sure that they understand what they have. But then you will not find all doctors that have that patience. But then make sure if you go to Dr. A and because it's a matter of your health though. So you can put your health in somebody's hand, although he's the professional. So if you go to a Dr. A and you feel that you didn't get the right information or it was not clear and you ask for it and the doctor didn't give it to you well, go somewhere else.
Is there a specific, or how do you call it, health cases among us Africans or Ghanaian that you would like to address?
First cause of death in the world are cardiovascular diseases. And I'm a cardiologist, so that's what I do. So what Ghanaians or people need to know is that sometimes there are diseases that we call small diseases like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol. These trees are like silent killers. Yeah. So you don't feel anything, and bam, once it strikes, you end up with a brain stroke, you end up with a heart stroke, you can even end up with kidney failure. So I would say that it's extremely important. Like if, for example, your doctor is saying, and this is a disease that is we can see it often in African communities like high blood pressure, diabetes. I mean, make sure that you take your treatment and make sure that your pressure, your sugar level, your cholesterol level are well controlled. So you have to know that it is your own body, it is your health, and it's your future, it's your life. If you fall sick, it is for you, you know. Sometimes people will be like, I did a blood test, but the doctor didn't call me to tell me the results. But it is absolutely, it is your responsibility. And even we have Google. So if your doctor say you have a disease, go on Google, read about it, and read the different kinds of treatment that is possible. Go to your house and say, okay, I've read this treatment. You are giving me this. Why are you giving me this? Challenge the doctor, you know, because it is your health, and you have to make sure it is important in your own eyes.
Oh, so, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, they'll be now, I mean, oh, sorry, I was in it here now, for my one, sorry. We often, and most of the time, it's high blood pressure. Yeah. Most of the time.
Okay. It's common with us, among us.
Of course. Okay. It's only Ghanaian, African people that die when they were not sick.
Yeah.
You know, we never know what's behind.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be afraid or shy to say I have this. It's not your fault.
It's human.
If you end up having high blood pressure, it's not your fault. So we shouldn't be shy that we have any kind of disease.
Even a car needs maintenance. How much more you?
You see?
Yeah.
We can bring our cars to maintenance every year, but do we go to the doctor every year? Yeah. And then we are surprised when we are 6 years that there is this and this and this. Yeah, imagine you use a car for 6 years and you don't bring it to maintenance. Same way.
So what are some of your long-term goals in the medical field?
Okay, so as I was saying, I'm a girl that likes dreaming a lot. So one of my dreams was to relocate to Ghana. And I pray to be a dream that can come true.
It will come true.
Yeah, because I feel like in Belgium we have like a lot of doctors, a lot of cardiologists. And of course, I know that if I go to Ghana, I'm not going to change the world, but then at least I can bring a kind of, even if it's the smallest contribution, to...
Are you ready for that challenge also?
The thing is that I'm at least going to give it a try. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, I just pack my things and come back, But then if I don't try it at a time in my life, I think it is something that I'm going to regret. And I'm sure, and I know, I've met so many doctors in Ghana, and I know it's completely different in every aspect. And I've also had the chance to work there for 6 weeks. And I also went, actually, not 2-3 years ago, I went to the cardiovascular center.
We have that?
Yes, of course. But the thing is that in Ghana, we have what it takes to treat people.
Okay.
We have I have pictures on my phone.
Yeah.
We have everything that it takes to treat people. But the problem is that people can't afford it.
Okay.
That's our only problem. And that is one of the reasons that I'm so upset. Because we have the materials in Ghana. For example, the job that I'm doing, a coronarography. So when you do a coronarography in Belgium, it costs 500, but the patient will pay 50 euros because the health insurance is paid.
Of course.
In Ghana, a coronarography is $1,005.
So if I don't have it, I'm dead.
Dollars just to see your arteries. And so when we see that a vessel is blocked, we put what we call a stent. That's how we call it. In Belgium, it costs 300 euros, and then the patient will pay some few euros because the health insurance is in Ghana. One is $1,005. So if you have a coronarography and we have to put you 2 stents, you end up paying $4,500.
The average Ghanaian cannot afford it.
Even the average Belgian cannot afford it. Imagine, because the thing is that, 4,500, it's a lot. And how many times can you do that? But then because it's cheaper here, we have access to it. And that is why I'm okay, many people are saying that here, when you go there, you're going to be you'll be helping people, poor people. And I think that is already what Ghanaian doctors are doing. I had a friend doctor in Ghana that told me that half of his salary goes to patient because they come and you look at them, they don't have the means. So you'll be and thank God for that friend doctor, his wife has a good job, so they don't really need the salary of the husband. But then, everybody cannot do that. So in Ghana, I think politics and mindset of the local people needs to change for us to know that our health is also important. So yeah, but then in Ghana, you can have, the machine they were using there to do the coronarography was even better
than here. Okay,
so they have the tools. They have it. They have what it takes to treat people. It's just that people cannot afford it.
And how do you see changing that?
I'm not a politician, but then I think I don't know. There should be something like health insurance in Ghana.
So what is your long-term goal there? How do you see fit?
But to be honest, I'm hoping that I can work there because my aim is not to make money. To be honest, when I go to live in Ghana, I'm praying that my husband will do that part, and then I can live my passion. My goal is really to perhaps out of 5 days, let's say I will work 2 days for money, and then I would like to work 3 days. Kind of for free, just to help people, But then we will see how it goes. Yeah, these are dreams. So these are dreams. So for now, it's dreams. We will see how it goes.
A young woman is watching us right now. If I'm not mistaken, you are the youngest African Ghanaian.
Yeah.
Mayana Africans are the Ghanaian doctor.
Yeah, I think so.
In your field here in Belgium.
Yeah.
How do you see to inspire someone watching it, the next generation?
Yeah, so what I do most of the time, I'm invited to conferences, I'm invited to Ghanaian gatherings to share my testimony as a child of a single mother that grew in a foreign country and was able to make it. But then, as we often say, is that most of the time when people succeed is that they have somebody behind that has been doing the work. And in my case, I'm a strong believer, and I believe that God has been faithful throughout my journey, and I just give praise to Jesus for helping me throughout. So when I studied medical school, I failed my first year. And many people around me told me, if you failed your first year, you're not going to make it, so stop there. And it's like, Lord,
That's not my story.
It's not going to work like this. And by God's grace, I never failed again. And probably because sometimes you go through training grounds, you know. So, I mean, if you want to acquire something, I mean, you have to tell yourself that it's doable.
You already said a lot, but put it into an advice. Like, what is your advice to someone, once again, the young African child watching us, or anyone out there, any Ghanaian child out there, any girl out there who wish and dream to become a doctor in any other field, like anyone? What is your advice?
So my advice would be like, pursue your dreams. So whatever your dreams are, don't allow external factors to be a limit. You just pursue your dreams. And sometimes, you know, your dreams shouldn't always be like being a lawyer, being a doctor, being, you know, even if you want to be a cook, I mean, you can become a great cook, create a big restaurant. Let whatever that is in your heart be birthed in this world, because perhaps that was your calling.
I know, listening to you, your story, and just watching you, like how passionate you are about your work, and how you've dedicated your life for ours, actually, to save us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the hard work. Thank you for the long nights, the crying, the studying. Thank you so much for achieving your dreams to become who you are. Because right now, if I was young again and I wanted to be a doctor, I think you could have been a beautiful mentor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for having us also. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
And also allowing me to share my testimony. Thank you so much for receiving me.
You're welcome. Thanks. As I kept thanking Doc for her time, I'm also thanking you for sparing us your time to watch this space. Thank you for watching. And do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to share. You don't know who you might inspire with this video. And don't forget to nominate someone if you know also someone in any form or any kind of profession that you think they also have a story to share that might inspire someone. If you know the person to be a role model, do not forget to leave us a comment so that we can reach out to the person. Thank you for watching. And once again, I am Wusuwa. This initiative was brought to you by Ghana Council Belgium. So thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.